Welcome back to DUPLEX Dream House. I'm Bree, and this is Garrett. And today, on today's episode, we are building a deck. A landing.
That's right, we need some stairs. We got a back door, but nowhere to go again.
Nowhere to go. Gotta get into this mud pit somehow. But yeah, follow along, and on to the video.
First step, unloading some lumber. I decided to build this deck out of 2x6 due to it just being a small landing.
If you watch very closely in this video, Garrett tries to one-up me every time. I can only carry about 1 to 2 of these 2x6s, but Garrett always tries to carry 5 or 6.
As with any exterior project, you always want to start with the control layer. Here you can see me installing flashing tape where the deck ledger is going to be installed. It's always important to make sure your tapes are nice and flat and fully adhered. That's why I always recommend rolling. Installing these flashing tapes, it's always important to remember that water travels down, and that means that you want to start with your lower portions and work your way up. That way everything has a positive lap.
Now it's time to chop up some parts. So I got upgraded from nail puller and cleaner to the chop girl. As you can see, I'm cutting up some spacers for that ledger board. That's what I assumed, but I take my job very seriously and make sure that everything is super square so I don't mess up the cuts. Look good? Oh yeah, she's gold. First one done, 6 more to go.
The most important part of our exterior is our exterior insulation. I'm using spacers here to allow insulation to be installed behind the ledger board. That way there's no thermal bridging.
I'm always stealing Garrett's tools and then he cannot find them in his work belt. Oops.
Measure and mark in, measure and mark in. It's always important to measure and mark. We actually need a paintbrush. We need to paint all these. But that one had, it was the end, so it was good. But this one, basically, it's small size.
Now I was sent to cut 6-foot boards for the frame of the deck. Always make sure to use your squares so you can make sure you have a straight line to cut. don't think I know how to do this. These sawhorses aren't close enough together and I can't move them because the wood's too heavy. Okay. Hold this piece while I cut.
Now we are treating the end cuts with a preservative. This chocolate milk-like substance seals up the ends so that it lasts longer.
Once all the ends are coated with that end cut sealer, we are now able to adhere the spacers to the wall of the house. After my little episode of struggling to cut the wood, I decided that Garrett was going to cut the wood and I was just going to measure everything out. So here he is, coming over and cutting all the wood. Garrett told me I have to get over it and cut my own wood, so here I am, doing it.
This is a rear handle style saw. That's why we're cutting it on the ground. It's shaped so that it's heavy and it's meant to cut down. A normal circular saw you would want to cut on the seahorses, but this one you do not. Here you can see me marking the crowns. The crown is a defect in wood that it goes up and down. So each piece of wood has it, whether it's big or small. You just want to make sure that they're all the same way. You always want to make sure that you're using the proper fasteners in pressure treated wood. These are hot dip galvanized nails. They're more expensive than the normal ones, but the normal bright nails, they will corrode and disintegrate within a couple years of use. So whatever project you're building will fall apart.
It's so tethering wood. Look at that. What a nice color.
There are a couple different ways to build a deck. Sometimes you install the ledger first and you build the deck off that, but this is just a small landing, so I decided it was a better idea to make the frame and then install it to the house. Thank God I got my big guns over here to give me a hand while I fasten it off. To fasten the deck frame to the house, first we're just using normal 3.5 hot dip galvanized nails to hold it in place, and then we're using multiple GRK structural screws to fasten it into the house, through the sheathing, into the interior rim joist. Here I am measuring the diagonal to make sure that it is square and ready for decking and a beam. Now I am installing joist hangers. These are required as per code to hold up the framing members.
Now you can see me starting to dig some holes. This is where our concrete deck pads are going to go. That's going to have the supports for the deck.
We decided not to install screw piles for this deck. as it is somewhat temporary, we do have bigger deck plans in the future. So this is just nice and easy. We can use our backyard this year. Here you can see me finishing digging the holes for the deck pads.
Now you can see me filling up the holes with gravel. Allows us to have a level base for those deck pads to sit on top of.
Here I'm setting the deck pads. Want to make sure they're nice and level to ensure everything's true, plumb, and square. Time to install the beam. There's tons of ways to build decks. I do them different all the time, but this was a small deck, so we decided to do it this way.
Here you can see us adding the beam onto the bottom. This is where the supports to the ground are going to go. These black pieces of metal are called the teleposts. They will sit on the deck pads and support the legs to the ground. And they are adjustable, so we can readjust them if anything goes out of level over time. Now it is time to put the posts in place, putting them on top of the teleposts and then lifting the teleposts until they sit flush, and then you can secure them. As you can see in the background, we have a few helpers that have joined us. We've got Planter Key and Garrett's mom, Linda. Now that everything is plumb and level, Garrett is using the nail gun to nail it in place. As previously mentioned, those teleposts are adjustable, so once it's all in place, he makes sure to level it off again and adjust those teleposts as needed. In the background, you can see me and Guy measuring and cutting the deck boards.
Here you can see them installing deck flashing tape. This tape is very important, as in every deck that's been demoed or remodeled, what's always rotten is the very top of joist, and that's because all the fasteners are going into there and then the water gets in and it rots out. So this ensures it's sealed and it runs off down the sides rather than through the lumber. Now for the deck boards. You always want to make sure you're starting your deck boards from the far end of the deck and working your way back. That way the cut piece is against the house.
Here you can see me quickly showing you the cut and seal that we are using on all the raw edges to make sure it's nice and sealed so it does not rot. Now we are on the last piece of decking and Garrett is scribing it to cut it down, and now it's cut. Now we got to make sure we seal that edge because it is all raw wood. Now that it's all installed, I'm just going around and making sure that I didn't miss any raw edges on the sides. Garrett is doing one more measuring and squaring and leveling to make sure the deck is absolutely perfect. This is day 2 of the deck build. Garrett is just gathering all of his supplies, his nail gun, his saw, as well as the cut and seal and his impact. Today, Garrett is working on the stairs. He pondered a bunch of ideas, was trying to decide where he wanted the stairs to jet out, but ultimately decided on the front.
Time to lay out some stringers. I have 2 carpenter squares somewhere, but every time it comes to laying out stringers, I can never find them. So what I've been doing lately is I build a jig. It's the exact rise and run I want, and then a guide block on the end. That way every tread is the exact same, and this has worked great for me. So here you can see me marking it out and cutting. might be wondering what saw I'm using here. This is a pull saw, so it's a saw that only operates when you pull, not when you push like a traditional hand saw. I use this to finish up my cuts, as a circle blade cannot cut square. Now that the stringers are cut and looking pretty, it's time to paint them. That's right, we gotta end cut them with the forbidden chocolate milk. Now it's time to tie the stringers together. There's a couple ways to build stairs, but when it's a 2x6 deck, I like to go the extra step. Normally you'd stay one under, but if I stayed one under, there would be nothing to fasten to. So I went up one more. That way the top step is deck level, and that leaves me with a really good fastening point. Can't forget to tape your joists. Time to cut some steps. hold down the steps, I'm using 3-inch ceramic coated screws. This way they will not disintegrate.
If you've been following Duplex Dream House and you're wondering when the heck are those big windows getting installed, that'll be the next video in the next 2 weeks here. So if you want to be notified when that gets posted, hit that subscribe button and help us get to our goal of 100 subscribers. Once all the boards are screwed in place, we are officially done. Here is that final look of that deck. If you're wondering to yourself, I never saw that door get installed. We did post one other video today. We will have it linked on the screen here so you can click and watch it now. We'll catch you on the flippity flip.
You built me a deck to eat donuts on? Is that true? Okay.